Hi guys, it's Ed. So I want to do a um, little video today just to show you guys about the trap and some things you can do in preparation to make it as efficient as possible. So for us, with the Warriors clan in State 270, we are now up to a fairly high level on the trap, and so it gets really quite actually difficult to beat it. You need to make sure you're doing the trap at the best time for your alliance, so when you've got the most people online and you can do the most damage in the shortest space of time. And really that's what it's about. It's about doing as much damage as you can. So for us, the influencer trapper here, so there's a couple of things to mention. So first things first, uh, no infantry. As always, no infantry. I think everyone knows this, and it's really, really important because infantry, they don't do much damage. They have a lot of health. They protect your troops in PvP battle, but in terms of doing damage, and that's what's significant for the influencer trap, they're just not useful. So, I mean, for me personally on this account, I've got some tier 9 troops, got tier 8 troops, and it's much, much better to send tier 8 riders and hunters, or even tier 7 riders and hunters, than it is to send tier 9 infantry. Now, with the new changes that have come in with today's update, there's been a change um, to the screen here, the sort of pre-attack screen, and it's makes explaining this perhaps a little bit easier. So one of the important things is to make sure you choose the right heroes for this, and this is especially important for the rally leaders. The rally leaders, their chief gear and heroes, etc., make a difference to the whole rally. So what's really good here now with the changes, excuse me, not entirely used to it yet, is that you get to choose your heroes from this screen here. So when you choose your heroes, it makes it quite easy. You get to choose one of the infantry heroes, and we'll have a deeper look at their benefits and perks. It does have the icons at the side here that you can see, so once you get familiar with these, this will help with various things, such as attacking infected, such as gathering, or anything else. So before you launch your rally, you need to make sure you choose your heroes from this screen here. And let's go to the actual heroes building so we can take a deeper look at their actual stats and the ones that make a big difference. So what we're going to click on here from the heroes screen is we're going to click on this stats button up here. And from the stats we can look at their explorer stats, and that's when you go and do the explorer missions where you've got the three heroes on the screen and you take out the zombies one by one. The military screen is the one that we need to pay attention to. This is the stats that you'll be using in battle, in such as the influencer trap and PvP. And this is the really interesting stuff. So Maddie is definitely a name that you need to remember for the influencer trap. She's got a couple of benefits. So one is she has a rally troop attack, and depending how high a level you've got her at makes a difference as to what this percentage is. But most people should have Maddie fairly highly leveled up, and so she gives the entire rally, so all troop types. For every person that joins the rally, she gives a 14.45% increase, which is huge. Also, really important for Maddie is this talent here, and this in battles such as against infected gives all troops a further 25% damage increase, which is huge. So Maddie is really important. Now Maddie is one of the heroes for riders. If we were to choose a different rider hero such as Trish, her perks are based around reducing incoming damage to you and better health for you and things like that. So she doesn't increase damage, and she hasn't got any perks here aside from the default rider boosts. She doesn't have anything here that will actually help in a rally or against infected. So in terms of a rider hero, it's definitely best to have Maddie. In terms of a hunter hero, Sarge and Eva both have very similar stats. So if we look at Sarge first of all, he's got a troop infected defense. That's not going to be any good, but what he does have is one of these talents again. It's the gun turret in particular that's useful. Increases all troop damage by 25%. Now Eva has the same same thing, she's got a troop damage increase of 25% as well, and the amount of damage she does, or Sarge does, is based on the level of this particular perk. So if we jump back a screen to this here, where you can see their skills, you can upgrade their skills from here, and you want to make sure that you don't balance, when you're upgrading these, you're using your items, that you don't balance them evenly between all of your heroes. You want to have either Sarge or Eva to have level 5 for this, so that you can do the most possible damage in the trap and in other things. So always prioritize that. So really the difference between Sarge and Eva, they both have that 25% damage boost. So if we jump back a screen and we look at the attack screen, you just want to use whoever's the most powerful. So for me, Sarge is slightly more powerful. He's got maybe 50,000 better on the actual power, and also slightly bigger march capacity as well, which will help. So choosing the right heroes is really important. For the infantry hero, Nicola is by far the best option for me personally. If you don't have Nicola, maybe you've got Wolfer leveled him up significantly. If not, you need to take a look at Chef and Rusty to see which is going to give you the most benefits. So if we just jump back onto the hero screen and we'll have a look. So the reason Nicola is the best one, if you look at the military stats, he's got here a 50.4% troop infected attack, which is huge, and also has a rally troop defense. Sorry, that's defense. That's not useful. Sorry, for the influence trap. But this 50% here is huge, and again, where you're upgrading the skills, if you're going to be using Nicola for the trap, you want to make sure these are all upgraded as a priority over other heroes. Personally, this is something I've only learned quite recently, so unfortunately for me, I've actually dumped some of the skill upgrades on Wolf, who I'm not likely to make much use from. If I would have used those items to upgrade Nicola, then I could do a bit more damage on the trap, which is always nice. So that's a little note around hero choice. The other things that can, of course, impact on the total damage you do is your talents. Generally speaking, I do advise to stay on the economy tree, because in balance of the whole game, the benefits from the economy tree far outweigh the war talent tree. But if you are on the war talent tree, you want to focus on most of the benefits in here increase either your attack or your lethality, which are both key for doing as much damage as possible, and they also have things in here to increase your march capacity as well, so that can be quite useful. If you are on this tree and you have the massive march talent, then of course you need to make sure you activate this talent just before the trap starts. The other thing I want to talk about here as well, which is quite a straightforward thing, but it definitely makes a difference, is the position of your rally leaders. So we have Tommy G here, one of our strongest guys, located right next to the trap, and ideally you want to have all of your strongest people that will be setting the rallies located around the trap at the point where you're going to be starting this. So as you can see here, we actually have quite a few of our lower HQ people sitting around the trap, which is unfortunate, but what we need to do is we need to change this around, in the next day and a half. And one thing you can do is, if you are located here and you want this to be your permanent spot, you can safeguard it. If you relocate for an event, or you want to go raiding or something like that, what you can do is you can occupy a space. So you click on empty space and you click occupy, and you could send just one troop, for example. Of course, you don't have to send your whole army, so you click reset, just set one troop or whatever, and click march, and they will then just land on this square here, and they will sit there until you recall those troops. If you can't send out 4 marches to save you 4 squares for your place, then get some friends from the alliance to help out, and drop one across each, and that way you can save your space and make sure you're always located right next to the trap. And the reason this is important is because it massively reduces your march time. So the trap has 30 minutes to beat it. Now, for every attack, you've got 5 minutes of rally time, and you've also got the march time. Now, people's march time to you doesn't matter as long as they can get to you within the 5 minutes. That's fine. What then matters is your march time from you, the rally leader, onto the trap, and if you're located right next to it, it's going to be a few seconds. Now, if you're doing this nice and quickly, within 30 minutes you can fit in 5 rallies. What you therefore need to make sure is that the time it takes you to set the rally, so choosing the right heroes and choosing the right troops, so again, no infantry, they have to be all hunters and riders. You need to choose your heroes, choose your troops, launch the rally, and have enough time for you to march there and back in less than a minute every time, otherwise you won't fit in 5 rallies. So if you do 5 rallies, it's 5 minutes each, which is 25 minutes, plus 5 more 1 minute spaces, and that's the 1 minute you have to set your rally, march there and march back. And the other tips for this as well is to set them, you want to have all the rallies completely full and you want to be hitting them as hard as you can. So individually you have a march capacity, and this is important not just for rally leaders but for every single person joining the rally. You have a march capacity, and if you don't have enough troops, I mean, I've lost a lot of troops recently, so I think my march capacity is actually bigger than the amount of troops I've got. So as an exception, if you can't actually fill your march, then it's okay to send infantry, because otherwise you haven't filled your march and you're not going to do as much damage as you could. The infantry aren't going to do much, but it's better than nothing. But in every other situation, assuming you have enough hunters and riders to fill your march capacity, you should only send riders and hunters. Now, the other thing that's quite important, especially for the troop leaders who need to be quick, as I said, you've got that 1 minute to choose your heroes, set your troops, and launch that march, is you can use this troop formations button up here. So just to remind you how I've got here, I've gone onto the chief screen and clicked on army, and if you click on troop formations, what you can do is you can have a preset army that's going to send. So I'm just going to show you how this works. I've not actually used it since they've changed this, but let's just choose my heroes. I'm going to choose Nicola, I'm going to choose Maddie, and I'm going to choose Sarge. So I've got my 3 heroes chosen, and so for infantry I'm going to clear those out completely. I'm not about doing them all, but just, obviously you would need to clear these all out completely. You would set all your riders, set all your hunters to make sure it's full, and then click save. And you can save this to your slots number 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to save it to number 2 for this, just to demonstrate. So if we come off of this screen now, and we go back to the attack screen, so I'll just search for an infected. When we go to attack, I can click attack, and then I can just auto assign formation 2, which is the one we've just assigned to, and it will then choose the same heroes I chose in the preset, and it will choose the same troops that I have balanced out in there as well. So if you do this before the trap starts, it will save you time. All you need to do is click on the trap, choose formation 2, and click march. Obviously you'll be doing it from the rally screen, but it's the same difference. So they're really the key things for the trap. So just to recap, you want to make sure you've got your rally leaders located right next to the trap. You want to make sure that you only have hunters and riders. You want to make sure that your heroes are geared around perks for the rally and perks for doing damage to the infected. And you want to make sure, if you're on the war tree, that you use your march capacity talent. And you need to make sure that you have your formation set so that you can make sure you can set your rally within less than, set your rally and march there and back within less than 1 minute, so you can get your 5 rallies off. And just as an alliance tip as well, the very last thing to mention is when it gets towards the end, You don't want to be fussing around too much with worrying about rallies getting full. You want to make sure there's always space for everyone to join. It doesn't make a difference whether you have, say, 3 rallies with 600,000 people on each, or whether you've got 6 rallies with 300,000 people on each. It's the same total number of troops. It's going to do the same amount of damage. So make sure throughout, and especially when it gets down to the last 6 minutes, you have as many rallies going as possible.